Hi, this is Krisha Warren, and today I will be presenting on elements of communication and what I've learned after reading our assigned chapters. As we read in Chapter 1 of Communicating Effectively, there are 6 elements of communication. In order to have a successful interaction, all of the elements need to be considered and well planned for. Both or all parties need to be actively engaged in the conversation. They need to be aware, educated, and knowledgeable about the message that's being conveyed. There should be an appropriate setting and environment for the nature of the topic, and there should be consideration for both internal and external noise distractions, all in an effort to have a successful interaction. When I think of my role as a communication partner, 2 things stand out. 1, being prepared, and 2, adapting as needed. So whether I'm the presenter or sender of information or the receiver, I need to be well educated on the topic and able to go beyond just the material that's being presented and be able to interact and ask questions and answer questions as they come up. Knowing the audience is really important. So ensuring that I have the right people that I'm presenting to that are going to be aware of the message and the content and have the right background to understand it is important. Otherwise, it leads to confusion, disinterest, and eventually being tuned out. I think also adapting as needed is important. If there's noise distractions, being able to address that. Whether that means to address that there is noise distraction and get rid of it, or moving the meeting somewhere else. Also identifying nonverbal symbols from the audience. So if they're yawning, if they are multitasking on their phones and laptops and just don't appear to be engaged, then there needs to be an adjustment made to the presentation, or just calling that person to maybe interact with you a little bit more. So when I think of examples of impacts to communication, a few that stand out to me are just again back to that lack of knowledge of the subject. So if I am a presenter and I'm just reciting information off of a screen, but I'm not able to answer questions that come up from that content, or if I'm in the audience and what's being presented to me I have no clue about, it's going to cause a negative outcome in that communication interaction. Also, knowing that the appropriate setting needs to have, it has to take place. So if I'm presenting or I'm giving feedback to an individual and it's poor performance and obviously uncomfortable for that individual, it shouldn't be done in a public or group setting. It should be done more one-on-one. And in addition, if your company just went through job cuts or stocks have plummeted lately, it probably isn't the best time to discuss planning a celebratory party for whether it's a holiday or some other event when that internal noise is going on in their heads about what's going to happen if it's me next. So I think just being aware and conscious of your audience. Recently, I interacted just this week with one of my staff pharmacists to share basically a DEA inspection report. So he was the right person to engage with. It was his pharmacy. There were remediation steps and efforts that he will need to address and so on. We did it in a corner, kind of talking through the report in the pharmacy. So there were other people around. It wasn't confidential, but I will say that there were noise distractions, and at times it was hard to really focus in on what was being conveyed. So that would be something that in the future I would be more thoughtful about, is let's go in a closed door setting so that we can both be fully engaged in the discussion. And the last thing that did occur is, although he's a pharmacist and had the right information for his pharmacy per se, there were some items that came up that we needed other people to be present for to address that really weren't pharmacy specific. So if I would have thought and prepared a little bit better, I would have invited those individuals to the meeting as well. And instead now I'm going to have a second meeting to get these last little pieces of information addressed. So that is my overview of this week's learning on the elements of communication. Thank you.